Where is Richardson Hitchins? I know exactly where he's at. I'm about to show y'all. This is not a good look, bro. He's out here chasing Teofimo Lopez and Barboza. I get it. But in this video right here, there's something that just don't make sense to me, and I'm about to approach it in just a bit. But first, hear this out real quick and what takes place in this video between Teofimo Lopez and Richardson Hitchins. Let's go.
Working with? Hey, I ain't even sent no offer. What you working with? I'm here, man. Yeah? Yo, take care of business. Where's your belt, though? I don't need my belt. I don't need my belt. I thought you was a rapper. I don't need my belt. I thought you was a rapper, man. Tio said we next. You look a little nervous. Like a farmer. Ain't smart. We got the lineal. We got the lineal. I'm ready to dig. I'm ready to dig. That's the one you gotta take. Working with?
Bro, there's so many things wrong with what's been said in this video that expose Hitchins and Teofimo Lopez, bro. I'm gonna keep it real. This is not a good look.
I ain't even sent no offer. What you working with?
You heard him? Y'all ain't even send no offer. So you mean to tell me that the whole scheme behind Teofimo Lopez was to duck Subriel Matias to act like he wanted to fight Hitchins, only to fight Barboza, who then became mandatory after collateral, but all of this took place before that fight even took place. Teofimo Lopez said out of his own mouth that he wanted too much, that Richardson Hitchins wanted too much. But they didn't even send him an offer. What did I tell you? I told you I'm gonna put the joint right up here for y'all can see it. I already said this. Teofimo Lopez didn't even send the offer, because in another video, Richardson Hitchins said what? He said, send something on that dotted line and we'll talk. That means that they didn't even start negotiations yet, and everybody was fooled about that. If you look in here, he's confirming it in front of Teofimo Lopez, saying you didn't even send an offer. You ain't even sent an offer. But what I find even more interesting is the fact that Subriel Matias is not an IBF mandatory challenger. Richardson Hitchins is the IBF champion. Peep this out.
I'm here, man. Yeah? Yo, take care of business. Where's your belt, though? I don't need my belt. I don't need my belt.
You heard him? Take care of business. What Teofimo Lopez says? Where's your belt? Those are two key words I want to focus on in this video.
I thought you was a rapper. I don't need my belt. I thought you was a rapper, man. Tio said we next.
Tio said we next.
A little nervous. Like a farmer. Ain't smart. We got the lineal. We got the...
So check this out, man. He told Teofimo Lopez to take care of business. And then he says, Teofimo Lopez says we next. This looks like a premeditated duck already. It's been looking like a premeditated duck when he said he was going up to 147. But it's looking like he might repeat that again. Now, when he says, Teofimo Lopez, take care of business. And listen, this is not personal. This is me being a fan of boxing. I like these fighters. They're warriors. They got to step in that ring. They risk their life in that ring. But I got to tell it how it is. He tells Teofimo Lopez, take care of business. As much as I be throwing shit at Teofimo Lopez, in this specific scenario, he is taking care of business by defending his WBO title against the mandatory Arnold Barboza. That's something that Richardson Hitchins should be taking notes of right now. Staying busy, get busy, take care of business by fighting his mandatory challenger, Subriel Matias. So now we move on, and he also says, we got next. You heard him out of his mouth. We got next. We got next. How do you know that? Teofimo Lopez then says, where's your belt? So he doesn't have his belt on him. He hasn't responded to his mandatory challenger and call out from Subriel Matias post-fight after his fight against Valenzuela, where he delivered a KO, a stoppage. He didn't respond to that yet. He didn't bring his belt, and he's already talking about, You see, he said we got next. Something just isn't right about that, right? But let's just scratch the idea that he don't need to bring his belt anywhere, because I don't prove nothing. I don't say nothing, right? He don't need to bring his belt, the IBF title. He don't need to bring that nowhere, right? During the match, during the press conference, he said to Barboza, listen, if you beat Teo, you down to unify. I'm not sure how long he could stay inactive before having to respond to his mandatory. But I don't see that unification happening until he fights Subriel Matias. He can't fight someone like Kambosos then to challenge for the unification when he still has a mandatory to fight in Subriel Matias. And we all know that IBF is pretty strict when it comes to that. We all know IBF stripped Canelo Alvarez, or was ready to, well, now wasn't ready. They did strip Canelo Alvarez for that IBF title and gave it to William Skull, which now gave Canelo the opportunity to regain that title to become once again undisputed. But my point is, if anybody takes that serious, any sanctioning body, if there's any sanctioning body that takes, you having to defend against your mandatory serious, guess who that is? That's the IBF. I don't see this going real far when it comes to Richardson Hitchins. I feel like, and this, I always said this, before unification bouts, there should be at least one title defense when it comes to this 4-belt era. We're still in this. I know that TKO's coming out. They're doing the 1-belt era again and all that. It hasn't really played a role. It haven't really taken effect yet. So now that we're still in this 4-belt era, I truly believe that once you get a title, you don't jump into unification. I don't think you should. I don't think that should be a thing. I feel like to get into a unification, for it to really make sense, you have to defend at least once. So we know you're not just a champion, but you're a defending champion. And it makes, unifying much more rare. It adds more value to that undisputed. You know what I'm saying? There's more value to it. So that way, like, oh no, he's a defending champion going against a defending champion, and now they're unifying. And then when they unify, then that's when you could, the rules change. Like, okay, now for unification, you don't need to defend for unification. From there, you could just jump into becoming undisputed if that's the process. You know what I'm saying? Unless, you're looking to unify for another belt, that other title, the person that's owning that other title, they got to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? But they got to defend first. There should be a little bit more of a process, in my opinion, before a person that just wants to get the title and then duck his way to just become a unified champion. When we're not too sure, there's still question marks. You have to be a defending champion. Not just jump into defending your title to become a unified champion, and you already spoke about stepping up to 147. There's too much ways to exit fights that way. When you already spoke publicly saying that you're planning to go to 147 sooner than later. So that means you're trying to finesse your way out of this situation. You're trying to fight at 140, unify if the best you can, and just run off without actually, taking the responsibility of a champion. A champion is not just about winning the title. It's about defending. What Spider-Man say? With great power comes great responsibility. Same shit applies with boxing. That's how we respect champions, man. But shout out to, Richardson Hitchins, because he did get the title, right? You got to give him a round of applause. Richardson Hitchins got a title by beating the person that beat Subriel Matias, right? But the only reason why this makes it sensitive for someone like Richardson Hitchins to not take this fight with Subriel Matias is that we already seen him avoid it for a title shot. When he could have got that title shot before Leon Perro, but he ended up avoiding that fight. He made a few excuses. He owned up to him, and then after Leon Perro became the champion, Hitchins didn't fight nobody since he ducked Subriel Matias, and now he's gonna go against Leon Perro, and that's where he became successful. But now we have Subriel Matias coming off of 2 knockout victories to go for that mandatory position again and get the title shot. And we're hearing crickets again coming from Richardson Hitchins. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's yours truly, VIC SZN TV. And I'll be here when you get back. You already know that.
VIC SZN got that flavor.
Toma!